Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Van Ezel by Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. So we get Georgia.com, subscribe, and start, shall we? Before we get started today, let's just go over, the standard rule of thumb. These decks aren't meant to be great. They're not meant to be optimal. They're just meant to be my definition of fun. If you have fun with the two, then go ahead and build it. If you have your own deck that works well for you because it's optimal, which is fun for you, go for it. There's nothing meant to be good about this deck. It's just meant to be fun. Anyways, outside of that, before we also get started, one more thing I want to say. I am sick and my dog's asleep in my room, so if you guys hear any noise or I just start coughing randomly, that's why. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong today, but let's go ahead and get this started, shall we? With my favorite deck, not even going to hide it, from set 11. Not my favorite deck in D. That does go to Nirvana. Ezel's, as much as I love the man, he's my favorite deck all around, but not the one from D. Keter Sanctuary. Ezel's. Let's go. We all know the main hype point of set 11. Don't try to tell me I'm wrong, because we all know what was the first thing that they did when they announced set 11? Reveal Ezel. That's literally the first thing they did. They showed us Ezel's art. You can not say anything else. That was their selling point, and it worked for me. So let's go and get the start, shall we? And we can see what I mean, because this deck's honestly really fun. It gets the rear guards and it gets numbers, so let's go. First of the day, we have our starter in Crimson Lion Cup Criff. Obvi, you can't have Ezel without Criff. That's like having bacon without eggs, or toast without jelly. And if you have toast without jelly, you are dead to me. Great Zero Boost, 5k shield, 6k base. All around punting for second, draw a card. Not supposed about just a free draw if you win second. All around pretty good. I always go with a different part of that bit, but no, just the free draw is nice to have. And this art is just so cool. Look at his sword. It's radiating red energy. And look at his art. I'm gonna say this right now. Normally I don't care for, normally I'm not, fanboying on arts, but, call it bias or not, but every single part of this ride line except for Gareth, I adore the art so much. Look at this. He's so cool. I would travel well with him on the battlefield. Either way, Criff's our starter. We actually do need him for once, so take the starter as you will. Then we have our trigger lineup. First, we have our over trigger in True Arbitrary Dragon of 100 Swords Durvalcel. So I've learned that it's not just the over. I think the over was waiting for me to find a deck in Keter that I would love to abuse, because Ezel's I have consistently pulled the over with when I need it. So take that as you will. Great Zero Boost, 50k shield, 5k power, over trigger, even over trigger in your deck. Remember, if you're another card, draw a card, choose one you can this turn. And if you have built it your drive check, activate its additional function you can do end of turn. You can also perform drive checks to the value of your rear guard attacks. All around, solid. Being able to get drive checks with rear guards is great. And if you guys have seen any of my 3 videos so far that have had Ezel fight, you see the amount of triggers I sack in my drive checks. That is not me stacking, for if anyone wants to wonder, because I think I'm stacking when I do it, and I know I'm not, and I'm the one recording it. That's just how it is. So being able to get rear guard with drive checks to basically guarantee a trigger in my drive check, that's great. So all around Durvalcel is great. You can run Armortino, they do the exact same thing, but I do prefer Durvalcel just because of, his art, and he has the sword themes. And of course you can run Forza. I probably said that wrong, the blue one from the Festival Collection, or Valna, the red one from the Festival Collection, but I prefer to run the nation overs with their respective nations, so that's what I kind of do here. But Durvalcel is good. Then we have our normal triggers. We have 7 crits, 3 copies of Knight of Heavenly Hammer Gurgant, Great Zero Boost, 15k shield, 5k power, and then 4 crits in Blade Feather Dragon, Great Zero Boost, 15k shield, 4k power, critical trigger at the end about it boosted, put it to soul, choose one you with 2k for the turn. All around pretty solid, goes to soul, and sometimes, if you play like me and you basically take every chance to Soul Blast, you will run into a soul problem at some point, really quickly actually. But the 2k, it kind of helped. It helped once when it shouldn't have, and it did, and it was really nice to have that. But all around we run 7 crits. It's very nice for pressure when you are consistently hitting into low-ish 40s, lowish 40s to mid 40s consistently. Basically, every attack is a guaranteed at least 25k drop, at least in this build. And I know there are builds that can get more drops out of it, but you're gonna want the crits. You don't need draws. I was gonna run draws, and I was like, no, I can feel my gut telling me crits. And I'm glad I went with that, because the deck can make rear guards out the wazoo. So you don't need draws. Just focus on the crits, and obviously you want to focus on the fronts as well. Bard of Heavenly Song, Outpack, being that front, Great Zero Boost, 15k shield, 4k power, continues guard, so good opponents, vanguards are great, 3 guards, prescribed shield, all around pretty solid, adds extra shield, which sometimes is very important for Ezel, especially even if you're getting that first grade 3 turn, you still want to have the extra shield going into it, but also the fat front trigger. It adds numbers, it makes the rear guards more deadly than they already are. What's not to like about it? We got the extra crits for pressure, and we got the 4 fronts. By the way, again I say about the trigger sacking thing, if you've seen the videos, I have sacked this twice, multiple times, in the same turn. I don't think it's possible that I could just keep sacking Blade Feather. Always 2 copies. I swear I'm cheating, except the thing is, I know I'm not. I don't believe it, and I'm the guy playing it. That's kind of telling you how this deck works. And then we have 4 copies of Healer of Heavenly Staff, Arshez. Grade 0 boost 50k shield, 5k power. She's just standing here, no special about her. You know, she just has no effect. I don't really like the effect heals too much because they're a constant 10k shield unless one specific situation arises, and then they become 25k shields, but then those situations come far in between, and it's like, I'd rather have a consistent 15 that doesn't risk my guarding power. Also, I kind of owe Arshez a lot, because whether it's Bastion, this deck, or what was the other Keter deck I ran her? Some other Keter deck I ran her in. She's always kind of just been there and has saved me on numerous occasions, whether it's by miracle healing. Also in this deck, I see her consistently enough to where she's the reason why I live half the time. So yeah, 4 of Arshez. I know I said nothing special about her, but yeah, no, for me personally, there is something special about her, because she's kind of the thing that keeps me alive. And then move on to our grade 1s. First, we run 4 copies of our PG, Paladinium Zeal Dragon. Grade 1 boost, 0 chosen base, contains 7 4% and deck on put in guard circle. Choose or mute, it cannot be hit on the bottom. If your hand is 2 more cards, discard it. Standard PG, not special if this unlimited card can place on guard circle, you don't have to skip one, which is great. Because Ezel goes all in on the offense, or at least the way I play it, unless I'm playing a nuke deck. Goes all in on the offense, first grade 3 turn. If it doesn't do it then, it's probably going to do it later on. And I promise you, towards the end game, having PGs to help you after you've like rushed through and all of your counterblasts and stuff like that, and you had to start calling from hand, really comes in handy. Especially in this deck, especially with the way I play, I can always rely on Paladin Zeal Dragon to be there. That's kind of the reason why I'm like but I'm obviously going to change this deck, but like I'm going to be hesitant to change this deck because this deck works so well. I can literally rely on every unit in here consistently. I probably have a story about every unit here. Like Gurgant won me a game. Blade Feather I consistently sacked twice. The front trigger kept me alive in a situation where I needed exactly 20k shield. The heal trigger I've already been over, like not just this deck but in general. Over trigger, like I said, shows up more often than it normally does. And then the PG also shows up more often than it normally does, but like when I need a PG, I can rely on it coming to me on its own accord and not me searching for it. So for Paladin, you can run Aegismire, but like I said, it's like I kind of have to biasly pick Paladin Zeal Dragon because I can rely on him. And then we have another card I can rely on. Here's a fun one. I predicted when this would show up in my top 7 search. Knight of Heavenly Piercing, Salta. So, before I get to our stats, a short story about Salta. Salta, okay, well not about Salta, but in general first up. In every deck, or like for every nation, I have about 1 to 3 cards that are generic in them that I'm like, okay, if I have space for a new deck that is being made, such as for example Ezel in the like deck space, then I will run one of those generic cards and hopefully it kind of works out. And if the card doesn't work out, then I'll just swap it for something else. Then the thing is here, Salta is one of my ones for Keter. I will always welcome her into a new Keter deck. Sometimes she finds her place like in Solarian in here, and then sometimes she doesn't, like such as, what was the first deck I tried her in? I think it was Thagria, and she just did not do much in Thagria. But no, Salta is solid in this deck, and we'll read in a second. So anyways, auto, when she's placed on rear guard, guard from your hand during your turn, choose from back or rear guard and stand it. Okay, so the thing is, I never remember if it's placed on rear guard from hand or if it's just placed on rear guard in general and then the discard has to be from hand. Someone correct me if I'm wrong about that. But if it's not on place from hand and it can be on place from anywhere, then Salta has been putting in work. Because the reason I run her is in case we don't have Dendron, who we'll get to later, who is a very important grade 1 in this deck, we want to be able to restand our back row rear guards for multi-attack. And that's what Salta does. She gives us better back row for multi-attack. And all in all, she's pretty solid. And I remember there was a game where I had boosted an attack where it was a very dumb idea because there was a chance I could not pull any Salta. And granted, the odds were kind of in my favor. There were 3 left in a deck of 18. The chance of me not seeing one was very doubtful. But I just had like an instinctive feeling. The first card I'm going to flip over is Salta. So I willingly boost. It was actually with a Paladinium Zeal Dragon, by the way, that I boosted. Swing with Bowman. Bowman goes to bottom, etc. Swing with Ezel. Do my skill. First card is Salta. I knew it. I had that instinctive feeling. I can always rely on Salta to be there. She is my main woman. She helps out a lot with the rear guard. Easy 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of Silver Fang, which, aka the most broken support grade 1 I have ever seen next to Dendron, who we'll also get to in a second. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, aka base. Auto when she's placed on rear guard circle. If you have a grade 3 grade Vanguard with only gold paladin for its clan, she gets plus 5k for the turn, then by counter boss, I'm going to draw a card. Okay, first up. just by simply calling her. Doesn't matter if it's by superior call from hand, deck, drop zone, damage zone, or if it's just a normal call. If your Vanguard is a gold paladin, that's a grade 3 or greater. Free 5k. And then if you wanted to, you can counterbalance one and draw a card. She is good. She is actually part of my kill combo with another specific grade 2 in this deck who does almost the exact same thing, except she has to counterblast to get the 5k. I love Silver Fang Witch. She does her job so well. Easy 5k for free, and then if I really need it, I can get that draw out of it, and most of the time I get the draw anyways, and all she has to do is just be placed on Rearguard when I'm on Ezel. 4 of Silver Fang Witch. I can say nothing more about it. She's one of the best support cards I've ever seen, and no one can prove me otherwise. Then we have 4 copies of another good support card that I've ever seen. This deck has a lot of random, really good grade 1s. Listener of Truth, Dendron. Grade 1 boost back issue, AK base. Okay, first up, her art's just cute. I love the socks and the bunny ears. I don't know why. She reminds me of a Pale Moon unit with this, but I guess that's just me. Anyways, honestly, placed on Rearguard Circle. If you have a Vanguard with only one clan, doesn't matter what it is. It can be Golds, Royals, Shadows, Genesis, etc. Soulblast 2 countercharge 1, so good, easy, free countercharge. That's nice. Or not free countercharge, Soulblast 2. And that's kind of where the soul problem comes in, because she costs double the amount of Ezel, but she and Ezel are the only ones in the deck that Soul Blast. And then auto Rearguard, at the end of the battle, she boosted anything. If you have a Vanguard Ezel in its card name, put another Rearguard in the same column as her to the bottom of your deck, and stand this unit. That is not a once per turn. It is not name restricted. It is send any Rearguard to bottom, as long as you have an Ezel Vanguard. After she boosts, it has to be a Rearguard in the same column as her, and she will stand. So, she will always be in your back row, and in case you don't and you have to boost beforehand, that is what Salta's for. 4 of Dendron. She saves the counterblast, she gets a free restand, and she solves in my opinion, one of multi-attack deck's biggest problems, and that is sometimes having to boost before your final attacks. 4 of Dendron. Then we have our last grade 1, and sadly my least favorite card in terms of art in this deck, and the grade 1 of the Ride deck, not in the main deck, of Knight of Elegant Skills Gareth. Probably the one time I would never run the Gareth in the main deck. I know I said in the Ezel and the Veda I would run it in the Ride deck, or main deck, and I originally planned on it, but then, like I said, the Salta spoke to me, so there's that. Anyways, grade 1 boost 5k shield, AK base. Auto when you use Rotopon by Knight of Superior Skills Bowman. Search your deck for turn 1, Reign Supreme King of Beasts. Reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck, so cool. Free order search by riding from the grade 2, and then continues Rearguard during turn. If you have a Vanguard with Ezel's card name, it gets plus 2k power. All around pretty solid. It's a 10k booster, or 10k swinger. It's nice to have either way. Again, I would have ran in the main deck, but Salta spoke to me on that one. I was like, I gotta listen to my gut on that one, and I'm glad I did. So one of in the Ride deck of Gareth, his free search is great, and his 2k skill again isn't that bad, but when you have Dendron, backup Dendron, and then best grade 1 support card, or tied for best grade 1 support card I've ever seen, yeah, it's kind of hard to speak for the 2k. I'm sorry, Gareth, nothing against you, I swear. So one of Gareth in the Ride deck, none in the main deck. Then move on to our grade 2s. 4 copies of a card I randomly put into Graham Grace, not expecting it to turn into a card I would actively use in Ezel's. Hammer Breaking Knight Sadie. Grade 2 is a 5k shield, 10k base. Auto is placed on Rearguard Circle by a card's ability. Counterblast 1, draw a card, and this gives 5k for the turn. So here's a fun thing. When I put this into Ezel, I did not imagine Sadie would be great. I thought she was going to eat up all my CB. Well, I was wrong. I mean, granted, her Silver Fang over here and Ezel take up 3 CB in total. But, yeah, no, I was wrong, actually. In fact, you can get away with using Dendron only once the entire game. Use Ezel, I think, twice or 3 times. Use Silver Fang Witch at least once, and then use this thing at least once, and you'll probably be fine. At least the way I play this deck. And again, the heal triggers do come in handy, but still. Getting a draw on a 5k off of just being placed by any card's ability, and you can play it off the order too, so a total of plus 10 in a draw is pretty nice as well. Just all around, Sadie's great. I like how she did nothing in my Graham Grace deck, the deck I intended to put her in, and then when I put her into Ezel, the deck I just put her in to put her in, because she's one of the generic cards, she ended up doing really well. So, 4 of Sadie, she just a really good grade 2, and I cannot say otherwise. And then we have our last grade 2 already. 1 of in the Ride deck, 3 in the main deck of probably. I know I love Ezel and all, but I'm kind of lean towards the Bowman side here of whose art is my favorite. Knight of Superior Skills, Bowman. Grade 2, Intercept, 5k shield, 10k base. And I have been trying not to swear this entire video, but I'm just gonna go ahead and break that thing now. Oh my god, this thing is fucking beautiful. Look at him! Look at this cape! His hair, his armor, his lion head, his shield, and his axe sword, whatever. And look at like the white background, him walking on a plane. Oh my god, it brings me joy. Like, the way he's walking reminds me of Soul/Totem from Inazuma 11. If you know what I'm talking about, high five to you, but basically, whenever those things come out, like, there's always like kind of a bluish energy that like swirls around someone and they normally run towards it. The Bowman stance, it's just like that, and it's one of my favorite things. It's beautiful. Okay, enough fangirling over the art. That thing's great. Anyways, active Vanguard Circle once per turn. If your soul has Knight of Elegance goes Gareth and Crimson Lion Cup Criff, cool, we got starter representation, let's go. Dish a hand card. You up to 1 Incandescent Lion Blonde Ezel from your ride deck, ride it as stand, and it gets drive -1 until end of turn. All around, pretty solid. Because guess what? This doesn't require your opponent to be at any specific grade. I mean, just for the simple cost of discarding for the ride deck, you just get to ride Ezel for free. Granted, you got to lose a drive, but if your opponent's at grade 1, next turn that ain't going to matter, because next turn when they're on grade 2, you're going to have twin drive. Cool. Great. Does it literally just for the cost of a ride deck, so technically it's free. And by the way, Gareth gets you a free order search, so his ride deck is technically free, and then Bowman's skill, I guess, costs 1, so you're only really dishing 1 that turn. And then auto rear guard, when this unit attacks into anything, if you have Vanguard as well in its card name, you have this unit gets plus 5k power tone to battle, and if you do, at the end of that battle, put this unit to bottom. Okay, here's some plus we can go over right away. First up, attacks into anything, free 5k. Cool. Second up, well, you have to have an Ezel Vanguard. Second up, it's not mandatory, meaning you can actively choose not to give him 5k and keep him on the board, which is sometimes what I do, because I want to like have rear guards around in case my opponent nukes my board, and maybe I just don't need him to go to bottom yet, because next time I'm going to need him to go to bottom for Ezel's multi-attack to go off. But if you want him to get 5k, whether it's just to hit numbers or to proc off multi-attack or some other reasons, you can, and then he'll just go to bottom at end of battle. And because of how his timing works, you can combo him with Dendron, where you boost him with Dendron, he gets plus 5k power, and then before he goes to bottom from his skill, Dendron sends it to bottom from her skill. 4 of Bowman. This is an amazing grade 2. It sets up multi-attack so well, it does it for free, and his art is badass as all hell. 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck, let's fucking go. Okay, now I'll stop swearing. I tried not to swear the entire time, but nah, I had to do it there. On to our grade 3s. Okay, I'm gonna break that promise again real quickly. Let me swear one more time. Badass on terms of art. Okay, now I'll stop. Grade 3, normal order. Reign Supreme, King of Beasts! There's gonna be a day where I scream that out to the top of my lungs. I would do it now if my throat wasn't dead. I should probably stop talking, but I don't care. Anyways, King of Beasts. Play this card if you have a Vanguard Ezel in its card name. You know, the order that you get search for Gareth, which is free, by the way. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 grade 3 less card unit card from among them. Call it to rear guard. It gets plus 5k till the turn and shuffle the deck. So let me get this straight. This card, which you search for free off of Gareth, can literally pull everything that's a grade 3 or less. So, Sadie, for example, give it 5k from the top 7, call it to rear guard, give it 5k, shuffle the deck, and then Sadie can proc off because she was called by a card's ability, counterblast 1 and draw a card, and get plus 5k more, so she's a total of 20. Or you could call it with Silver Fang and do the exact same thing. Or Bowman and make it a 15k. This order is amazing. It's a free call of top 7 search, calls 1 thing, and gives it 5k. 4 of Reign Supreme, King of Beasts. I can make no arguments to why you should not run at least 2 of these. I've been seeing other people run 2 of them in their builds. I do kind of question why, but I can kind of understand it. But in my mind, like, especially the way I do this, yeah, I need the 4 of, because that's just how I play it. But 4 of Reign Supreme, King of Beasts. It's just a very powerful order. It has gotten me this most of the time, and that's kind of where my CB comes from, and then it's gotten me this most of the time, and then sometimes it gives me Dendron. Weirdly enough, against the nuke decks, I always pull Dendron from that. I don't know why. 4 of Reign Supreme, King of Beasts. And then we have our last card in the deck. Insert holy choir noise here. 3 in the main deck. 1 in the ride deck of something, something, something. Boku no Bushin, Incandescent Lion, Blonde Ezel! Ow, that actually hurt. But it was worth it. I don't care. If I lose my voice from that, it was worth it. Grade 3, Twin Drive, Persona Ride, 13k base. beautiful swords. We can kind of see like the edge of that one. I used to not like his art because I just didn't like the splash of colors, but now I really do love this art. Continuous Vanguard Circle. You can only ride cards with Ezel in their card name. That tells you something of how powerful a card is. If the first line of text is you cannot ride anything else but itself, basically. Like, I love that, of how it says you have to ride it as on top of it. There's no other excuse. You have to. And it says ride, which means it counts as superior ride. Thankfully, it doesn't count towards strides, but there we go. My boy for real, showing the supremacy of Ezel's. And then his other abilities. Continuous Vanguard at the beginning of your ride phase, or Auto Vanguard at the beginning of your ride phase. If you have 3 or less units on board, counting himself, so him and 2 rear guards at most. Soul Blast 1 with the top 3 cards of your deck. Show up to 1 grade 3 or less unit card from among them, call it to an open rear guard circle, and put the rest on the bottom deck in any order. Okay, great. It's literally this, both less power and less search, and also it's, cost a Soul Blast, but like straight up top 3 to call anything. Oh, look who gets procced off by this. Oh, look who gets procced off by this. Oh, because she can be placed by any means. Look who gets procced off by this. Oh, look who gets procced off by this if you end up having a rested rear guard. That alone is good. And then this ability. I'm gonna say this right now. This ability would be so incredibly broken if we just removed the wording of this. If we just removed this part of it. So anyways, Auto Vanguard, when this unit attacks into a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, CB1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 grade 3 or less unit cards from among them, call them to open rear guard circles, and this unit gets plus 10k for the turn. Shuffle the deck. Okay, so as you can see, they open. That's the reason why Bowman and Dendron are important, because they open up rear guard circles. But then also, it's the same thing as this, but cost a CB, you get 2 units. Granted, they don't get 5k, but instead, Ezel gets 10k for himself. And typically, because you know you're doing this while your opponent's on grade 3 because you have to, and you've probably been on grade 3 for at least 2 turns now, you probably have a Persona ride, so he's at 33k base, and you'll probably have an 8k booster, and if you're me, that booster is Silver Fang Witch, and it's probably 13k. So, casually swinging for 46, without triggers, when you have multi-attack. Ezel is amazing. I don't know what to say about this. I tell you what, this ability would legitimately be 100% broken if we just removed the grade 3 or greater Vanguard part. But they had to. They had to put that there because Bowman exists. 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck of Ezel. There's not much I can go into description about this. You can all see the combo. I've been over the combos you can do with this deck. You get the point. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, this deck is very fun to play for me. Like, I love calling rear guards. I love the multi-attack aspect of it. It's just beautiful and the abuse you can cause. I had a statement I wanted to say about the deck. Oh yeah, the statement being like, if you're not playing against a deck that kills rear guards, like, if their point isn't to kill rear guards, you will auto-win. I have played against a handful of decks now, such as MLB and Blasters. Well, I mean Blasters as in Blasters in general, like MLB plus PBD, and then I played against PBD. Decks that don't actually have 100% focus on killing rear guards like Narukami for Vermilion, you will auto-win. Because they can't kill your stuff fast enough for you not to be able to bring them back and abuse the hell out of them with a broken board. I love this deck. I'm glad it's here, and if you excuse me, I'm gonna go bully my friends with this. So hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us, go to follow Twitch. I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.